Bright Yellow Daffodils by Real Ratman. Summary. Daza and Kunikita are on their usual spiel when Atsushi, daydreaming and bored, says something that completely stops the room. Hey, why are there 2 suicidal maniacs in the agency? Prompt taken from TikTok. Atsushi was having a quiet day, for once. Almost everyone who could cause problems or disrupt the flow was out on cases, leaving Atsushi alone in the office with Haruno and the other office workers of the agency, as well as Kyoka, who wasn't yet allowed to work on her own. Besides, she still wanted to figure out how the office's paperwork was organized, and that was a cold case in itself. It was disastrous, and even Atsushi could tell it needed work. Originally, it was organized alphabetically, if Rampo was to be believed, but with the arrival of, you guessed it, Dazai, it had quickly devolved into a junk drawer system. If you had paperwork, you would put it in one of the dozens of drawers and hope it would eventually get through to wherever it needed to. And anyway, most of the agency bypassed the filing cabinets completely and took their paperwork straight to where it needed to go, whether that meant the president's office or to one of the co-workers' desks. Rather than helping Rampo in one of his many cases for the day, Kyoka had decided to reorganize the filing cabinets because Kunikita-san seems so stressed out about it. And I feel bad. I also want to look at what types of documents we keep in the office. When given the reasoning, Fukuzawa only shrugged lightly and told her to work hard. She's been sorting and filing paperwork away for the better part of the hour, and Atsushi's just been watching. He tried to help at first, but she waved him away with narrowed eyes, so he's been spinning around in his own chair, avoiding his own paperwork and staring off into space. Occasionally, his mind starts drifting, and he'll think about things that he'd rather not think about. And it's during one of these moments that Kunikita and Dazai burst into the office with 2 completely different expressions on their faces. Of course, Kunikita looks 2 steps away from murder, and Dazai looks to be the future victim, if his smug grin is meant to give anything away. Knowing Dazai, it must be intentional. Everything always is, with him. Now, Kunikita-kun, Dazai placates, with his hands held up in front of his chest. He quickly backs away from Kunikita as the blonde lunges forward to wring his neck, smiles faltering for a brief second. Listen, we weren't going to get that case anyway. You flirted with the victim's wife, Dazai, Kunikita shouts. Atsushi glances over at the 2 of them, still feeling floaty. Her husband had just died, and then you had to go and worsen her health with your ridiculous double suicide stunt. It's not a stunt, Kunikita, Dazai replies smugly. He turns his nose up with feigned offense. I can't believe you would accuse me of faking it. I really do want to die, you know. Death has been calling to me, and sue me for wanting to answer the phone. Maybe it's the half-joking way Dazai says it, or it's the way Atsushi always got loose-lipped when he was feeling distant. But in any case, he finds himself saying something that makes the office go silent. Same, he mutters, picking at his claws. He doesn't want to die, not really, but the opportunity presented itself to make a joke, and Atsushi is a little tired of being seen as the innocent newbie at the agency anyway. It felt like he was saying, "Get this, everyone! I know what death is. I'm an adult, believe it or not!" And it was kind of liberating. It takes 7 seconds before Atsushi notices that Kunikita and Dazai have stopped arguing, and when he does, he slowly rakes his eyes across the room to see the 2 of them frozen in place, staring at Atsushi with wide eyes. What? He asks, still lost in his thoughts. Kunikita blinks, looking blank. Dazai's jaw goes slack. Kyoko furrows her brows, clutching the folder in her hands anxiously. Slowly, Kunikita turns to Dazai, the fire in his eyes rekindled. What did you do? He spits. Dazai doesn't even look at him. He's too busy staring at Atsushi. It's at this moment that Atsushi realizes that he must have said that strangely. Why would everyone be so shocked at him saying same? Everyone in the agency, excluding a couple of members who just don't joke like that, has said similar things before. He opens his past dialogue button in his memories and thinks about how his words came across. Oh no. Did they think he was being serious? His eyes go wide and he practically falls out of his chair in a haste to stand up. I meant that as a joke, obviously. I don't actually want to. Dazai! This is all your fault, Oh my god, you want to kill yourself? That's my thing, Atsushi. I cannot. The room devolves into 3 men screaming at each other. Kyoka covers her ears and screws her eyes shut. Maybe, if she can't see them, she won't be able to hear them either. Once the first round of screaming matches dies down, Dazai lurches forward to grab Atsushi's shoulders roughly.
You can't be suicidal, Atsushi. There could only be one of us. Don't die, please. I don't want you to.
Kunikita pushes his face out of the way and blocks Atsushi's vision with his stern gaze. Ignore him. He pauses. Well, actually, he raises a good point, for once. Don't be suicidal. Did Dazai set you up to say that or what? Dazai shakes his head sharply.
No, I don't even know what came over me.
A raised eyebrow.
I'm being so for real, Kunikita-san.
2 raised eyebrows.
Please, I promise.
Kunikita sighs wearily. He glances at Dazai, who is still giving Atsushi puppy eyes with a big pout. His shoulders lose their tension, and he rubs the bridge of his nose, probably remembering why he was upset with Dazai in the first place. Kunikita grabs Dazai by the collar and starts pulling him towards the supply closet. He dodges Dazai's sharp, cracked, bitten nails as the man claws at him in protest. As long as you were only joking, lad, he says, before tossing Dazai unceremoniously into the closet and closing the door behind him. Atsushi sighs the moment it becomes just him and Kyoka again. Finally, peace and... Oh God, Kyoka. She heard all of that, didn't she? He looks over at where she should be working, but when he does, he meets her eyes. Kyoko runs her finger over the edge of the folder she's holding, looking solemn. His heart leaps in his chest. You don't actually think that, do you? She asks. No, really, I was just joking, he replies. Kyoka's lips screw up like she ate something sour. Okay, she acquiesces. But if you're lying, you will tell me about it later. I don't like when people pretend to feel things around me, especially my friends. Atsushi finds that his mouth is dry as he nods. Yeah, he replies. He can't trust himself to say much else. His throat feels strangely tight from Kyoka's words. Rather than focusing on how he definitely, has mental problems and needs serious help, he zeroes in on how Kyoka called him her friend. He smiles lightly at her, and she searches her face for a few more seconds before turning back to her task, apparently satisfied with what she found. Atsushi returns to his own work, albeit with less enthusiasm. He does not make eye contact with Kunikita or Dazai for the rest of the day. In his defense, Dazai doesn't look at him either. Later, he sits Kyoka down at their shared dining table in their dorm, and he tells her he lied earlier. She promptly states that she knew that already, and then Atsushi, in a surge of sudden grief, tells her everything. Well, mostly everything. He talks about his headmaster, the orphanage, what he truly, honestly thought about himself and his future. She listens closely, as quiet and dutiful as she always is. But after Atsushi is done, when he's finally stopped crying, she leans over the table to hug him. Atsushi thinks that maybe things won't be this bad forever. It's a pleasant thought.